Hey Internet, it's your boy PattyRick, fresh back from the Super Meteor 650 launch thanks to Royal Enfield. Now you may be wondering why you're seeing me standing here and not doing a beautiful intro in a beautiful location out in Texas on the bike or something like that. Well, that's mainly because whoever designed the batteries at GoPro I think is about as sharp as a marble, if you catch my drift. Now that being said, I was able to get a bunch of really good footage and I really had a great time at the event. So I'm going to show that to you guys here in just a moment. But before we do some time traveling, I do want to say a massive thank you to Royal Enfield for having us out to be some of the first people to ride and check out that new Super Meteor 650 here in North America. Check out the video. You guys have fun.
Royal Enfield Super Meteor 650. Super cool. We're out here in Dallas, Texas, riding this thing all day today. We started riding about 9 a.m. It's about 8 a.m. It's 9:30 now, and we are about to ride to lunch, which is, from what I understand, about an hour and a half away. Going from Dallas to Denton, taking some back roads and taking the long way to get there to enjoy these bikes. And super excited, you know, it's a neat little bike. I'm kind of just trying to figure out how the menus work and all that fun stuff. There we go, gotta figure it out, and away we go. So first impressions of the Meteor 650, it is a forward control beach style kind of swept back handlebar bike. You are leaned back ever so slightly, kind of that classic cruiser feel. Outside of the seating position and the handlebars and like the ergonomics, which are fantastic, even as a really big guy, 330 pounds, 6'3", legs, torso proportionate. For me, it feels very cruiser, like it's a very relaxed seating position. It's very comfortable. Your weight is on your butt and your tailbone a little bit, but the seat is very, very padded. And they've got a really nice shape to it. I am personally riding the Celestial model, which is a two-tone blue, white, and gold paint job. It is beautiful. There's a great sparkle to it. You can kind of see in the light there. It does have more of a tourer setup. So we got the windshield, we've got pegs instead of floorboards, and then we've got the two-up seat that you'd see on that bike right there with the little backrest. Really, really comfortable. I've yet to try the back seat, obviously. I'm the one riding, but it does look comfortable and people have been raving about it so far. I will say the controls are really smooth. I really like the all-metal levers. The metal switch panel is really nice. It just gives a really quality feel to it, which is refreshing, you know, especially for something in this price point. And price point is a really important thing on this motorcycle, and we will talk about it later because it is, like, frankly staggering, the amount of value you're going to get from a machine like this. Digital gauge on the right. You've got a analog digital combo here on the left. I don't hate it. I don't love it per se. I like the analog speedo. It's really cool. It's very classic Royal Enfield, classic cruiser in general. And then the middle with the digital fuel gauge, time, mileage, your gear, things like that. It is really nice. Another thing about this bike, just off the rip, it is 530 pounds. You're looking at about 47-ish horsepower and a little under 40 pound-feet of torque out of a 650 parallel twin that is air-cooled. You know, it's surprisingly peppy for a 650. You know, I thought, being as 530 pounds plus my fats on it, I definitely thought it was going to be struggling a little bit more in the acceleration department, but honestly, it's doing really well. I can't complain at all. From what I understand, it's got a pretty solid fuel tank size. I think we're going to stop for a fuel top off maybe this afternoon is what we've been told. We're going to be out riding until about 5, so all day riding on a single tank would be fantastic. Super, super cool. You know, the controls are pretty basic. You know, you've got your, like a classic flip style switch on the right, and then you've got a similar setup on the left. Your standard lights, your high beams, and then your flash to pass. All of that's really, really good. It's well placed. It feels very quality, very tactile. And then you've got a menu button on the back side there that lets you cycle through a couple little screens on the left side digital dash. I don't know if it's just kind of the shape of it, if it's throwing me off a little bit, but the handlebars are riding nice and straight. It almost looks like everything is shifted, and I think that's probably just due to the gauges being a different size, and it's kind of more of an optical illusion than anything. And it took me a minute to get used to this morning, but it's really not a big deal. We do have Showa inverted front forks, which are great. They are plenty. They're not super soft. They've got plenty of rebound and compression to them. We've got that double shock you can see on all these bikes. Classic Royal Enfield double rear shock. They are preload adjustable, but that looks to be about it. They're fairly basic. We do have a great hydraulic foot brake. It works pretty darn well. Adjustable levers from the factory, which we love to see. We've got a cable clutch on the left, obviously the hydraulic brake on the right, and it goes to a single rotor and caliper up front. Feels like plenty to me. You know, it's a 530-pound bike. I'm a big dude, so we're moving like nearly 900 pounds here, 850, 900 pounds with me on it, and it does well. You know, the rear brake pedal is really nicely placed. I like where it sits. It's not super high up, it's not super low, so it does allow for you to really get to it. Even with, like, I'm wearing ADV boots, still allows me to get to that pedal really easily. I'm not really having to like pick my foot up or anything or do any weird to get my foot onto that pedal. We're about halfway through our day now. We're getting out into the country roads. A little bit of twisties happening out here. You know, as twisty as Texas can get, I think. You know, we're fifth, sixth gear, 65, 70 miles an hour on these back roads. Just blasting along. This engine is happy to be cruising at this speed. It's got no issues. The suspension is nice. The show up front inverted forks are doing a great job. The rear leaves a little to be desired for a big guy like me, but that being said, it does have an adjustable preload. If I had some time and the tools, I would be happy to adjust that and probably stiffen it up a little bit more. It's just a little soft. I'll tell you what, this seat's doing a great job. Really, really comfortable seat on this Celestial model, the kind of 2-up with a backrest at 6'3" and 330 pounds. I feel like I've got plenty of room. The bike does feel a little, I don't want to say small, it feels like a mid-sized bike. I mean, it is what it is. I'm very much a big bike kind of guy, adventure bike, bigger cruisers, you know, sport touring, things like that. Where this is a middleweight. We are on our way to a beautiful dam. Just a bunch of cool photo op spots, a big dam we're gonna ride across and get photos. So this 650 twin is really nice. You know, you can lug it down low and it's happy to do so. You can rev it out and it is happy to do so. You know, this engine is just, it's plenty peppy for what we've got going on here. The bike isn't super heavy. It certainly doesn't feel heavy. It feels very nimble. I mean, you can just really easily flick it back and forth. It's kind of an odd feeling. You know, you've got this middleweight bike moving around underneath you and it turns in beautifully. It's not like a, you know, a full-size or a Dyna or anything like that, or a Sportster where you've got to manhandle it into the turn. I mean, right here, I'm just going to put a little bit of pressure on the right foot peg and it leans in beautifully. All right, so guys, let's check out this Royal Enfield screen on this 650 Super Meteor. A dual kind of setup here. We've got a digital gauge here in the middle. You can cycle through different trips and things like that. And then of course you've got your analog speedo. There is no tach, which is perfectly fine with me, not a big deal. You know, you can really just feel the rev of the bike, and you know, if you've been riding for a while, or even if you're new to riding, you'll kind of know when to shift. It's one of those things that's instinctual. And then this little screen over here, I don't recall what they exactly call it, but long story short, you can link it with the app that they have, and it will give you turn-by-turn directions via Google Maps, which is a super, super cool feature. I'm loving this Celestial paint, the blue, the gold, and the kind of white cream color. Really, really beautiful, very, very classic. They also do a red and white like that one there, and a couple of other models, but this one, I'm focusing my video today on the Celestial model purely because it's the one that I happen to be riding. From a personal preference standpoint, I do prefer that the shifter have a little more of a kind of positive feedback, a good clunk as we go into gear. You know, it's not that it's bad, and like you could feel the bike get into gear for sure, but I think really just having the shifter feel a little bit stronger, you know, more like the Hemi or the Scram 411, is those bikes have a really, really positive shifter feel. This one does not. That being said, that's very personal preference. It goes into all the gears extremely smooth. Shifting is easy. So out on one of the media portions of our shoot, it is across this gigantic dam here north of Dallas, Texas. We are hauling ass on this road right now. Oh my gosh. Almost to Buc-ee's. I sure do love Buc-ee's. Getting my photo did by the media crew. Say hey to the media crew. I don't know what that is. That's neat. But yeah, giant dam, huge lake here. It is beautiful. Let's talk about this, who this bike is for, right? So, in my opinion, it's a fantastic middleweight cruiser. I think this is a great around the town bike. I think it's going to be something that's good on city streets and on back roads and things like that. Yeah, I don't see people kind of grabbing this bike and spending a ton of time on the freeway. If you're looking for a freeway cruiser, this is not necessarily it. Now, that being said, this is not, by any stretch of the imagination, a bad cruiser, a bad freeway bike. I think it is just one of those things that, you know, the weight definitely helps on the highway, keeps it nice and stable. The steering is nice and soft. You don't really have to worry about a ton when you're on the freeway. You're not going to get blown around. I think the biggest downfall is definitely this windshield, but I think it's a great beginner cruiser bike, someone who's familiar with the Royal Enfield brand or somebody who's never heard of it and is just getting introduced to it. It's very lightweight, the clutch is nice and easy to operate, it's got good quality parts and suspension, the Showa suspension. Royal Enfield's doing a great job. This event, some really good folks who are putting in some really good work, making some really cool content. That's a very cool truck. Just helping us content creators and media folk to provide you guys with the best video possible. Now, my GoPro batteries, on the other hand, have been doing the best job they can to literally ruin my experience, or at least to ruin my representation of the experience for you guys. This isn't a review, it is a first impressions video. I'm really hoping that Royal Enfield gives us a call here in a couple weeks and has a demo out to loan to us so Chase can do a first ride and we can really spend some time on this bike, because so far I've been having a blast. It's been an absolute pleasure at this Royal Enfield event. Beautiful part of the country, good old Dallas, Texas, fantastic weather, fantastic roads, and some fantastic people. You can't really complain when you've got just a fantastic combo like that. I think it's a great bike. I think it's an absolute riot, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been a good time. Made some new friends, like Rachel. Hi, Rachel. Making friends all over the place like we do here on the C2 Dub channel. So guys, it's been your boy PattyRick. I hope you enjoyed this video. It's been fun. We're hanging out, we're having a good time, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. Outro crew, if you guys have stayed to the end of the video, put OC in your comment down below. You are part of the outro crew, and I'll tell you what, let me know what you guys think about this Super Meteor 650. It's been an absolute riot for me to ride today. I think it fits a classic cruiser segment. Let me know, drop it in your comment down below, and we'll go from there. See you guys.